I feel like this has been a long time coming to get you on the podcast.
Well,
Here we are.
I'm gonna pick a bone with you,
Oh,
Renee.
well, here we go.
Let's start from this. So it's very interesting. After the lights out match, everybody and their mamas interview Britt Baker, and it's so interesting because I was in that match, and I was not
Yeah.
interviewed. You interview her right
So
after the match,
here's the
and
thing.
I don't know what happened.
That was one of the very first things that I wrote down as I was preparing for this interview. Because yes, Britt Baker did get the spotlight from that match. It was the two of you. And I mean, I will say, I mean, I know Britt personally a little bit better than I know you. So I was like, girlfriend, come pop on the show, blah, blah, blah. But like, why is Britt getting all of the flowers for this match and not you? I love Britt. I think she's great, but let's talk a little Thunder Rosa here.
I mean, I think it was the fact that the image that it was there in that match. I bled too, but I didn't do it to the point in where like I was completely like drenched in showering blood. I think that was one of the shocking factors for that match. I mean, the match was a masterpiece. Like I watch it and I'm like, it was so driven with emotions from her and from me that made it so special. There's been so many women in the business that I want to give credit to that were before us that have done this in the independent scene, but they never did it in a way where we did it, right? I think, in my personal opinion, that's one of the main reasons why people are like, oh my God, she's the queen of hardcore. And yes, she did some crazy stuff. She took some crazy bumps. But at the same time, it's like, this wouldn't happen if she wouldn't have the opponent that she had with her.
Of course. Takes two to tango, 100%.
Yes, absolutely. And I think I knew that for her, it was going to be a defining moment in her career. This match specifically, for me, it's been, it was the match that I needed for people to understand who Thunder Rosa is. And I'm just not talking about as a worker, but I'm just talking about in general, like what I'm able to do. Like I can do technical matches. I can do high flying matches. I can wrestle in a mask. I can speak Spanish. I can speak English. I can do hardcore matches. I'm not afraid of anything. I can do MMA. I can do everything. So, but I feel like it was just kind of like the drift went with her and he didn't go with me. But I'm so used to this, I'm like,
do you think that's because of the way that Britt's very good at taking things and pumping it up on social media? She kind of keeps the storyline going through social media where she wants to talk a bunch of shit, post the videos online and post the pictures and all that. Do you think that that is something that that makes the storyline follow her more?
I mean, it could have been, and it also could have been the fact that I wasn't signed with AEW
right.
at that moment.
Right.
And it wasn't like, it wasn't going to be like specifically the moment for Thunder Rosa. And I totally understand that. But I mean, like I said, that match specifically, I'm so thankful to Tony for allowing me to be part of this storyline, because he could have picked anybody that was signed at the moment in AEW. But
I don't think that that's true though, because you couldn't have done that match with anybody. That's not true.
Right? But I'm saying that if you put it in perspective, right? Because I was not part of the company full time. Right. I know he saw it from the day one. When I came to AEW, it was a one and done. But my performance kind of like forced everybody to have me there every week, which was really cool.
Okay, how much pressure were you feeling though? Because I honestly, prior to my research getting ready for this interview, I didn't know that you weren't signed before that match. How much pressure were you feeling to be like, hey, you're going to be the main event of Dynamite. You're doing a hardcore lights out match and you're not signed. Did that like fuel your fire to be like, it, I'm just going to go out there and do my absolute best and get signed and it is what it is? Or were you feeling that pressure of like, God, I really hope that,
I felt the pressure from moment one, like, because I knew what I was coming for. It's like, I'm an outsider. People make me feel like an outsider a lot of times.
What do you mean by that? Why do people
Because
make
the
you feel like an
storyline,
outsider?
I don't know if you remember, the storyline is like, you don't belong here. You don't belong here. They keep telling you that. They keep telling me I'm an outsider my whole entire career because I never watched wrestling. I was a social worker. I came into the business because it was fun. It was something that interested me, and I ended up being pretty good at it, and people didn't like that. So just imagine, you come from another company, and you like it or not, when you are, it's a blessing and a curse when you're too good at something in any job, right?
Sure.
So you come in at something, you're supposed to be a one and done, and then you're like, "What's up, guys?" Every week, I'm the cousin that nobody wants to see, but you still see me. And then they put you in this like super important spot that you're like, "Holy crap!" Like, if I shed the bed, this is it. Like, they're gonna be like, "Oh, thank you for your service, ma'am." You move on. But it was like,
Right.
I knew that if I did what I needed to do with my opponent, and we can tell the story the way that we're supposed to tell it, that I was gonna be okay, and that this was gonna help me catapult my career in many different ways. Because for me, it wasn't like, okay, I'm gonna have an excellent match, and this is gonna be great just for me. I was doing this for the whole entire group that I have been, dragging with me and telling them, you can do this too. Like, you can be an outsider. People can tell that you suck. People can tell you that you don't belong. I have been told that so many times. And even now I shouldn't be reading stuff, but they're always like, well, Thunder Rosa is missing something. Oh, Thunder Rosa is not, they don't have the it fact. If there is something. And I'm like, let me tell you something, guys. I beg you, not I beg you. I dog dare you to wake up at 5 a.m. every day, travel for 7, 8 hours, put a show, go to the next show and do the same thing. Take care of yourself. Try to look good. Try to have a positive attitude. Try to do something. And then you can tell me, oh, you're still missing something. I'm not, because I'm not doing it for myself. I'm doing it for the group of women that they're coming with me. Right. And that's when I cut that promo. The pressure was on not for me only, but to like, again, show that I'm a great talent, but it's to show that it doesn't matter what people tell you. You are in charge of your own destiny, and you can change your present and your future. And that's what I did when I got there.
So what happens to Thunder Rosa if people do start saying that, like, oh shit, she does belong, she is this amazing talent? Do you want that to happen? I mean, of course you want that to happen. Everyone wants to get their accolades and get the respect that they deserve. But do you kind of enjoy having that chip on your shoulder to keep moving forward and keep proving everybody wrong? Because I almost feel like, I mean, as much as you're telling me this, I almost feel, not that I feel the opposite, but like, I feel like the stuff that I see about you online is people love you.
They do. They do. They do love me because they see the hard work that I put all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't base my success on one thing. I base my success on every week what I can do for myself and for other people, right? Because it's not about, I can tell you, for me, it's not about me. My legacy, my family legacy is to build opportunities for other people that are coming after me, with people that come in the ring with me, what they can learn while they're with me, and they can teach to somebody else. It's like I always talk about real sisterhood. Like, I was not treated well when I started in the business by other women, but women that were in the business before me. And that scarred me for life. And I keep talking about it. And I know my therapist told me, you got to let it go. But there's certain things that I let it go. But
that shit can be brutal, man. Like, oh my God, it can be awful. Do you think locker rooms have changed quite a bit since then, or is there still some of that can exist?
I mean, there's still some of that. But again, it's our responsibility, our individual responsibility to be better people when we are anywhere we go. When you see something that is wrong, you have to say something, even if that's going to cost you your own job sometimes, because there's certain things that shouldn't happen. And if you're strong enough and you can be, I don't want to say political enough, but you're professional enough to do,
well, especially if you're somebody that is a locker room leader, to kind of step in and change the way that a locker room is.
Or even like have an adult conversation saying, hey, what you did out there really bothered me, and it made me feel this way. And instead of like, you are stupid and you this, is like, no, it made me feel this way. Can you please not do that? And if it continues to happen, then okay, you have a bigger issue, right? But it's like, again, it's like with my actions and when things that I do, I really try to teach new generation of women that it is okay to be a strong woman and say something and not like being a bitch, because you're not being a bitch, you're just being professional. You know, and then that's what I hate when people are like, oh, she's being a bitch. No, she's being professional, and she's standing up for herself. Men do that all the time, and 100%. Nobody says anything.
Yeah, no, men do that all the time. And you're right. I mean, it's definitely easier for like, you know, if a woman steps up and has that sort of cachet about her, people want to call her a bitch or that she's difficult to work with. Like that is one of the most annoying things I've ever heard of, like a woman being told she's like difficult to work with. F off. That is so, I hate that. It's so obnoxious. How did you feel when, or what was the conversation that you had with Tony after the Lights Out match? For when
it was really sweet. Like, I have pictures of that. I have pictures. I have video. I can like literally like tell you how my whole day went. Like when the moment that I got there and like how I felt. I mean, like I said, I was very nervous. I was not for me, because I was like, whatever, if I get hurt, I get hurt. Like my whole thing is like, I want to make sure that my opponent was fully protected, because this was some of those matches and where things can go really, really well. Or
you guys took some gnarly bumps too. Holy shit.
Yes. And there's a lot of stuff that I never done before. So there's a lot of like, you question yourself and you question like, can I do this? Can I do this safely? Can when we go live, am I going to be nervous? Is my opponent going to be nervous? And then, you know, I called my husband. I remember I was in the back. I was wearing Jacksonville, and we're like in the doctor's office. And there's like a little place where you just hang out. And then, you know, I was going, and I was in tears telling my husband, I'm like, I am very nervous about this. I don't know if I'm going to pull it off. And then he told me just like, because I just remember who you are, where you've been, and all the things that you have gone through. Just remember, you're Thunder Rosa. You are there for a reason. They brought you here for a reason, Melissa. This is your moment. Mm-hmm. You know, remember that. Just remember that you are badass. And I just never remember that, because I was like, okay. One of those conversations where, you know how sometimes you talk to your husbands and your husband's, come on, just get over it. No, it was like, totally. He was there like pumping me up, and like I just remember I was like, man, and I told him like, this is not MMA. I can't kill her even if I want to. I can't, like, I'm not allowed to. So so he's like, you're gonna do well. Like we're with you, right? And I remember getting ready and everything, and Tony was like, yeah, you're gonna do great, and I trust you. I believe in you. Tony was always telling me that he believes in me. By the end of the match, I remember they counted, everybody's on their feet, clapping, and I was like shaking. Like there's a moment in where like literally we break the table. She's completely full of blood. I'm full of her blood, and I'm like telling her like, I belong here. And then I'm like, they raise my hand and I'm in tears. Like this is some real tears. This is like, I was like, in my mind, I remember thinking, you guys, you guys, I knew this was going to be good, but I didn't think it was going to be this good. And I didn't think I was going to survive. It's so good. Tony hugged me and he was like, hey, champ, I knew you were going to do this. Thank you so much. This is one of the best matches I ever seen that a woman have done live, you know. I'm so thankful that you were part of it. Right. And then he's like, you got to cut a promo. And I was like, oh, you know?